Who else was disappointed that Michael Keaton wasn't able to return to Cars 3 to voice Chick Hicks again? I can't be the only one. I mean, Bob Peterson was good and all, but he also did Dr. Damage, so he was kind of that fill-in type of guy. And we all know Michael Keaton was busy doing a ton of other projects at the time, like Spider-Man Homecoming, so it really isn't that big of a deal because he had such a small part. Still though, it would have been super nostalgic and I would have absolutely loved it. So you guys, welcome back to another Thailand variant review. Today we're doing this brand new 2-pack of Chick Hicks and Bruiser Bukowski. Now there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. Not only, do we have the first Thailand release of Bruiser Bukowski, but we also have the first time that Chick Hicks' tires have gotten released with the Lightyear text. Every time in the past, I'm pretty sure they've looked like this. So just the bare black wall tires, which they're kind of boring, because they don't match Chick Hicks' tires. So I'm really glad that Mattel did that. However, for whatever reason, they also put Lightyear on Bruiser's tires, which that doesn't make any sense. But we'll get into all of that later. Yeah, this is in the newest 2-pack case. There are no other new 2-packs in the case, no other new Thailand variants. It is just this pack. Of course, the previous case had Mrs. the King with the King, and then you had Patty and Taco. So you got 2 new variants there. The next case will have a lot of new Thailand variants. We'll get actually 4. You'll have the chemists like Nate Stanchion and Jessica Jam Patrol from Cars 2. And then from the Tokyo Party, Mike Fuse and the man, the myth, the legend, Zen Master Pitty. So 4 new Thailand variants there. I don't know if I'll review those or not because those types of characters tend to not look very different. And plus, Piston Cup, we just go gaga for Piston Cup stuff. And so that is why, reviewing the Thailand variants of like Piston Cup stock cars and whatnot, next gens and all that good stuff really is a little bit more advantageous. Makes everyone happy. Now, I like the artwork here. Of course, they do have to put the choking hazard there, which kind of detracts from the overall aesthetic. Has to be there, though. Chick Hicks' art just looks a little too big. Like, I know they look in scale with each other. It just looks a little strange, but I am happy to see Bruiser finally get like some solid artwork because even though they've been released in a 2-pack, Bruiser was released as a single. He never got solo artwork like this because when they were in a 2-pack before, it was like a movie moment shot. So you just had like a screenshot from the film. Same thing with that single. It's kind of odd to me that Bruiser then was never re-released as a single, especially kind of when they went on a Pitty tirade in 2009. But yeah, they look good on the Red Riders packaging. On the back, they got the movie right, happy about that. And they show some other Cars 1 2-packs. Now this one here, Race Official Tom and Lightning McQueen. It's all good in heart there, but they actually include they put the artwork for the Cars 3 McQueen on that pack, so that kind of stinks. Then you have Flo and Ramon, can't really screw that one up. Mrs. the King and the King, who I actually just found in Meyer the other day. Pretty stoked about that. Have yet to find Patty and Taco though. And then I think this might be one of the first times we've seen a stock for Bruiser. I mean, it has like the tires there, even though they're gray rimmed. So I'm not sure if they made that up just for this, because whenever he was released in the past, except for the very first time, and then of course when he was in the 2-pack, he didn't have any accessories. So all the other times he had Pitty, the Pitty had the tool cart and the tires. So I don't know. It's kind of, just zoomed out there a little too much. It's kind of like a weird thing to talk about. I don't want to confuse you guys too much, but I mean, honestly, it's just Mattel trying to screw with us because whenever they release a 2-pack with a Pitty, it either has the tire stack or the tool cart. Like when they did the Easy Idol Pitty along with Ruby Easy Oaks in 2015, it was the tool cart. When they did the RPM Pitty and the Chief, you had the tool cart, but now we have just the tire stack. But when they get released as a single, they have both. In a multi-pack, they have both. But way back in the day when they got released as a single, like Bruiser here, and in the 2-pack, they didn't have any accessories. So it's like Mattel just, I don't know, they're just always, it's, just kind of a game time decision, whatever mood they're in. But yeah, guys, I'll be right back with these all opened up. So although it should be pretty obvious where they appear in the film, I will put a screenshot of them in the movie there. I'm just going to put the one from the beginning, the Motor Speedway of the South race, when Chick is surrounded by 4 pitties and they're kind of picking on McQueen, and then they lose all the attention because McQueen does his little ka-chow pose. All the cameraman go nuts for it. But yeah, this is a pretty nostalgic pack. They were released together as a 2-pack in like 2008. So it's really cool to see them brought back after all this time. Was that now 14 years? All right, so we're going to start with Chick, probably the least exciting one because he's been released from Thailand before. But we're going to make it pretty wild because I have now all 3 versions of him: China, Thailand, and Vietnam. The Vietnam version came in that Target 11 pack with Krusty Rotor, Bert, My Name's Not Chuck, and all those guys that I reviewed for the 12 Days of Christmas. The Chinese and Vietnam versions have, just unibodies. The entire green part here is just one metal piece. The Thailand version has this plastic eye plate there that inserts. You can clearly see the crack along it. They all kind of have the same expression, but they have varying degrees of green shades, which I find really interesting. The Vietnam is definitely like your purest and most natural, just typical green. And then this one's really diluted, almost like a lime green. And then this one's a little bit of an in-between. So interesting how they vary so much. But the real question is how the decals fare, because we all know that Thailand struggles with decals. Very blurry on a lot of cars, especially the Piston Cup racers, because they have smaller decals. When you have a larger decal on a more basic car, I'm trying to think of one that they have done well, but it's not coming to me. There are not too many of them, but I don't know, chances are they probably did not do very well on this one just because of the sheer amount of decals that Chick Hicks has. But we'll take a look, give it a fair chance, and yeah, sure enough, they aren't horrible, but I mean, just like comparing shiny wax, like that one just looks rough around the edges, like it looks like someone scraped at it. I could see like some whiteness in it, just not clean, not crisp. They all kind of start to merge together here. It's like they're melting into each other. And some of them, like if I didn't know what that was, I wouldn't be able to read it. Like that one right there, if I didn't know that's retread, I wouldn't be able to read it. Same kind of goes for a lot of these. You have a Texas T right there. Now I do kind of like this one a little bit because that white Texas T text stands out more than here because it kind of all blurs into the background, but it's still blurry. There's another Texas T decal. Oh, that one's gross. Look at that one. It's just like, you might as well just put a circle with orange, blue, and orange on it. I mean, you can't read anything there. It's pretty disappointing. He's been released from Thailand several times now, and you'd think he'd improve with, or you'd think that Mattel would improve his decals every time, but I wouldn't say so. Now, like I said, they do better with the larger decals here, so you can see on the hood, HTB, Hostile Takeover Bank, looks pretty good. The balloons look solid. They aren't as like 3D as they were before. You could see a little black shadow behind it. There's the lighting on the tips of it there, and here they don't really do the black shadow. So, doesn't look as real, I guess you could say. It looks a little flatter. The front decals look okay. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to go through and read every one and, examine which ones are better and which ones are worse, because most of them are worse on the Thailand version, which is disappointing, but just how it goes. Now, here's something interesting. You can see that the decals are all like crammed in here. They're much more spaced out on the Thailand version. It's because they reduced the size of them. Like, see that Yum one right there? That yellow with the red text right there? They probably reduced the size of that by a factor of 3. These other ones are reduced probably by like a third or 50%. Wow. It just looks so different. Like, look, all that empty green space in there, but there's none of that there. Huh. Usually I try and find some pros and cons of each, variant, but I'm really struggling to find any pros of this Chick Hicks version here. Not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. Hopefully Bruiser is better. Maybe you like the shade of green more. I don't really care. It's kind of hard to tell which is better. I mean, they're so close. I'm not a huge fan of the eye plate. I mean, it doesn't really add or detract. Just kind of adds another crack right there. Now on the base here, let's check out when he was made. R14A, so the 14th week of 2022 at the A factory. So yeah. Now one thing I do, like more, I could say for sure I like more, is that the hood just looks cleaner. Like the bolts there, 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, those just stand out way better than they do here. Like these ones kind of merge into the mustache. And also the outlines of like his intake and the hood like are way more defined and just look better. Like you can see the outline around there, just looks a little bit better. But that's pretty much it. That's all I can say that I like more for the Thailand version. The Vietnam version's way better too. I mean, Vietnam on top, just so you guys know, Thailand on the bottom. I mean, the decals are way better. One could argue that the decals on the Vietnam version are better than the Chinese version. And you know what? I honestly might agree. I think I do agree. Vietnam did a phenomenal job with all of these decals here. China is on the bottom. Yeah. It's going to be hard to argue that the Vietnam version isn't the best one just because of how clear the decals are. Tires look a little weird on this though. They just feel a little cheaper. Maybe you don't like the darker green though. But yeah, I mean, just look at that. Such a much better job. Oh my gosh, it's not even close. Honestly, the Vietnam version is supreme. Chick Hicks supreme right here. Alright, so there's your Chick Hicks fun. Of course, there is the Cars 3 version with the rubber tires that has the slightly different decals. The retired Chick Hicks look. Scavenger hunt release. Very rare. At least for a period of time. And then it kind of lost its rarity. But now we're going to move on to Bruiser here. So there are actually a lot of versions of Bruiser. I don't have the lenticular version, like the moving eyes one they did in a 3-pack, but I have everyone else. And here they all are. So they did do this one version of Bruiser that had a phenomenal expression. I think to this day it's still one of the best expressions Mattel has done because it was accurate to the movie in one of the scenes he's in when he's looking over at Chick. And it just adds character, instead of looking dead on, when you're looking over to the side, it really does make a difference. So this is my favorite version of Bruiser. And then these two just have different eye colors. You have orange versus blue. He is supposed to have, well, brown, I guess I should say. And that is the color he's supposed to have. So they did get that right. Yep, on the card art, he also has brown eyes. Just to show you guys that. Alright, so we're just going to do the most basic version here and the most similar. These expressions are... Oh, geez, don't do that, Disney Docket. These expressions are quite similar, but I am happy that they've changed them up a little bit. So when I put them all together in my Chick Hicks team section of my collection, it doesn't look like there's just a bunch of clones. Yeah, they definitely are quite a bit different. The Miles, a little different as well. Not as smiley here, a little bit straighter face. The mustache looks way glossier, so I think that's a metal. Yeah, that's all metal right there, whereas before, that was a plastic piece. The gray forklift is darker. Of course, they did put Lightyear on the tires here, which is not supposed to be. I don't know why they did that, because when they've done Thailand pitties in the past here, like Megan Shifter, they did her right. They didn't put any text there, so I don't know what compelled them to do that. They just kind of went trigger happy with the Lightyear text. They got it on here, which is good. Here, though, not exactly. HTB Hostile Takeover Bank. Those decals look pretty good. The text is way fainter and a little bit more spread apart, as you can see, than on the Chinese version. And then the same effect on the balloon that I talked about with Chick. The windows look a little grainier. It's like one of those TVs that went static, where this is just like pure gray. Now the cap is plastic, so while this part now is metal, the mouth, the cap is plastic, which previously was metal. So give and take, I guess. So you can see like the crack right there. But they did match the colors pretty well between the plastic and the metal, which sometimes they struggle with. So it's easier, you know, when it's Megan Shifter and the cap's supposed to be an entirely different color. This part here is also plastic before it was metal. Alright, when was he made? He was also made during the 14th week. Makes sense. Okay, here's just the version with the blue eyes. Here is the cool expression version. To this day, I still want them to make a short, quote unquote, or small Chick Hicks Pitty. Like when they did the team sets, they would do one of each size, which is, you know, they called this one tall, this one over here would be wide, and then they do a small. But, you know, in the Chick Hicks team set, I'm pretty sure this is what they included, which is fine, you know, and all. You got this, you know, again, nice expression version of him. But I still really want a small Chick Hicks Pitty. And honestly, before that, I just want some Rust-eze pitties besides My Name's Not Chuck, right? But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to pull up the entire Chick Hicks team here. Oh, and I should probably show the Lightyear tires here because that's kind of a big deal that they finally got them right. And they still put the hole in it up there because pitties always stab the tire with their fork prong and drive around like that. It's like when you like stab a whole breast of chicken on your plate or something, or like a whole steak and you start eating it like a popsicle. Like that's what it reminds me of. Just absolutely barbaric. And yeah, there. That looks pretty good. At least it fits nicely on the prongs. You gotta be careful with it though. You gotta really delicately set it up. Yeah, of course we have the Chick Hicks hauler there in the back. Come on, stay on there. There you go. Got Team or Chief Chick Hicks. Was he recently released from Thailand? I can't remember. I know the Dynaco crew chief was. Would have been nice if they tossed in a tool cart, but you know, they only tend to do one accessory these days per 2-pack Pitty release. And oh, by the way, it would be difficult to make a custom of a small Chick Hicks Pitty. That's just a random thought I had because, you know, you would need to like get the mustache. You'd have to like break down one of these pitties, get that mouth plate, and like put it on a other pitty, and then you'd have to match the paint and all that. So that does kind of sound difficult. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the review of these sexy Thailand variants, and I will see you soon for another one. Bye now.